Hi, I'm Tanya Stewart, and welcome back to the Turning Point Summit. How to use the hardest times in your life to create the exact life you want. Okay, we have a special treat today because I think I'm like big screen. I think I'm big size. Normally I'm like half the box because you have another head to look at. But that is okay because I like to be seen. I like being in the spotlight. We are going to be talking to a Feng Shui expert today. Her name is Karen Carter, and I am so excited about her. You guys hear me say this all the time, and it's true because I pick my heroes. I pick people who've changed my life, and this is a true story. When I decided to get a Feng Shui person for this summit, her name just popped in my head. Like it was just, I was sitting there, I was like, I wonder who I should get, and it popped in my head, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I have her book. This is her bestseller that she wrote a while back called Move Your Stuff and Change Your Life. This book changed my life. When I moved into my new house, it changed my life. This is actual true story. So I'm so excited that I've hunted her down and wrangled her here and got her here to give us some wisdom. Now, I'm going to tell you, like always, about her credentials because she's just freaking amazing. She is a best-selling author. She is a healthy lifestyle designer. But check this out. She is actually a licensed landscape architect. How fancy is that? Graduate of the Academy of Healing, Nutrition, and Holistic Health Counselor, professional member of the International Feng Shui Guild. Raise your hand if you did not know there was an International Feng Shui Guild, but you feel better knowing there is one now. Yeah, that's me. She is an international speaker, best-selling author. Can you just say hi? Say hi, Karen.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here.
You are awesome. You are awesome. These are a lot of credentials. I mean, if we're being honest, truthfully, most feng shui people that you bump into in some church bulletin, it's like they were working at Kroger like 2 days ago. Like you saw them in the checkout line, and then the next thing you know, they're like, I can help you get your house all energetically aligned. So it is so wonderful to talk to somebody with genuine, actual credentials.
Well, I've spent years, and you know what? The investment in yourself and your own education, I think, is so valuable. It's with you for life. And so I have just been a student of the world and always looking for ways to help my clients. And I have subjugated myself to just about every holistic treatment and alternative whatever because I want to have firsthand information. And to me, I have a degree in, every all things woo-woo and whatever. But I've
Oh, I
spent,
love that.
plenty of decades. That's why I'm not on the video. Just kidding. I spent a lot of years, detailing, looking from the mind, body, spirit, as well as, of course, the environmental perspective on how to make a difference in somebody's life. And so I'm known as the environmental expert because of the best-selling Feng Shui book. But yeah, I've got a lot of tools up my sleeve over the years.
Tools up her sleeve. I love that. Well, you know what's funny? And I really say I gravitate toward that because I have found as a coach that when you're dealing with a problem, it is better to have more tools than you need to solve it than to just have one tool. Like there's that old phrase that to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So it's awesome that you have this multidimensional approach and that you bring all of that to bear in Feng Shui. Can you tell us how you got started? Because at some point, you weren't just born this Feng Shui goddess. So bring us up to date with this.
All right. Well, as you heard, I am a licensed landscape architect, and that's really the jumping off point of how I got into Feng Shui during the what was the recession of the late 80s in the building industry, early 90s, as most everybody else got hit with it. I was looking for landscape architecture work. I was licensed in many other states, and one of them was Hawaii. And I went to Hawaii just to look for work. I mean, I didn't move there. I just was hunting for jobs there.
Right.
And I found a project, but it was for China Airlines. And they said, if you don't know Feng Shui, you can't bid on this work. So I knew that this Feng Shui was the bridge between me getting that work. And so I needed to learn about it. So I came back to the mainland. I'm like desperately hunting for somebody to teach me. I ended up, and back then there weren't, I teach people now how to do what I do and how to be a Feng Shui consultant. But back then there wasn't like a certificate program, at all. Nobody even knew what Feng Shui was back then.
Right.
And so I read the one book in English that was available, and then I, studied with somebody, and I really just started hunting and hunting. And then I started using it. And I thought, I can't sell this if I don't believe in it. So I have to study the science behind it, like what is the mirror, the law of refraction and,
Right.
reflection and all these kinds of things, mirrors and crystals. And so I was really digging in and trying to figure out why this works. And so once I started playing around with it, of course, guess what, moved my stuff and it changed my life. So that's why the title of the book so happened. And then, believe it or not, Simon & Schuster, the largest publisher in the world who published that book, I didn't even go to them. Like, they found me. So
That's ridiculous.
When you get a book published and you didn't even pitch them,
That's ridiculous.
So that's when your feng shui is working, when opportunities present themselves and you're not clawing and grasping for every little thing. It just comes to you, and now you can make the choice, yes or no. So that's how you know when you're in the flow versus trying to push a boulder uphill in life, called not the feng shui life, right?
Yeah.
So, that's how I started. It was literally just to augment my my career as a landscape architect. Then once I wrote the book, it became a bestseller, and I feng shuied it to be a bestseller. So you can actually be very specific with your feng shui intentions,
I'm sorry, I have to tell everybody who's watching and listening. Yes, feng shui apparently can be used as like a noun and a verb. She feng shuied it, and we can't even make fun of that because the crap worked. That's awesome. We're gonna feng shui that. You did not feng shui that yet, did you?
It's a verb. It's whatever. So many people, they just think it's about harmony and balance and all these things that you can't quantify. And
right.
I really, I want people to dig in and get you're at place X, then you do some feng shui, and then you get to at place Y. And I want you to have those goals set out very specifically, like I want my book to be a bestseller. I want it to be that specific to know whether your feng shui works or not. Where so many people just go, oh, harmony, balance, and I'm like, just give me something juicy to dig in with,
Well, that makes you a genuine expert, because really what that means is it means that you're willing to have your results be counted and measured. I've been a teacher of marketing and business coaching, and you cannot manage anything you cannot measure. So the idea that you are speaking from a place of we're going to be accountable, we're going to measure this, we're going to have specific goals, we're going to be able to look at this and see how we're doing, that takes the woo-woo off of it. That takes the, I put this plant here and I just generally feel better. And the fact that I'm being evicted, I feel better about it because there's a plant right here. And this plant in me, it's like the jerk. I just need this plant, and while I'm being evicted, I'll be fine. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So we want, we want your feng shui to be working for you. And now, I want to take a moment to talk about what feng shui is for those of you who maybe are like, we don't even know what you're talking about, right? So feng shui is a method of mindfully, like I was talking about with your intentions and your goals and things, mindfully arranging your environment to support you consistently versus maybe what it's doing now, willy-nilly. You don't know, I don't know. And so you want to have this mindfulness about it. And I use the example of everybody knows it's not wise or possibly a good environment to put your baby down by the edge of the pool to take a nap, just because it just is most likely going to be a bad outcome. Like the probability is weak there for good outcome. But where does obvious end and subtle begin? And feng shui deals with all these things in your environment that you really you've never thought about it being working for you or against you. And that's where the feng shui realm really shines, is these things that people go, I never thought about that. For example, like how many people have a bruise on their thigh from when they go around their bed and the corner, gets them, and you're like, why do I have this bruise on my thigh? And it's just like people sort of put up with these little nippers in their world where that's just nipping away at their energy. And
I call myself out during the summit all the time. I was a well-respected professional before I started the summit. Now pretty much people are like, wow, she just kind of sucks. That was that was when I was married. That was our bedroom set. It was this big fancy big, heavy wood bed thing, and I cannot tell you how many times. The bruise was always in the same spot. And I'd come
Yeah.
around the corner, and I'd wham into it, and I was like, oh, I did it again. I was like that cartoon where they say curses and foiled, and I just said other words, but yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's that very thing that people allow in their environment that does not support them. It could be from a bruise, it could be from all kinds of health issues. I mean, just the whole gamut, to relationship, career, family issue. It just goes on and on. And the world of Feng Shui deals with every possible scenario that you can think of. It falls in the world of Feng Shui. So I have spoken to attorneys. I've spoken to window coverings expo. I mean, you, I, I can't even tell
We
you
gotta
that.
have a moment of laughter for that, you know? I mean, yeah, we're trying to change our lives, but let's just have a moment imagining the Feng Shui expert goddess talking to the window covering people. Okay.
I literally had to do a talk on the 5 elements of window treatments. I mean,
Okay. All right.
and they come to me. I was like, wow, you guys are, yeah, right on.
They're on it. You know what? I'm mocking, as I'm looking at my dirty blinds. So never mind. I'll just shut up. It's fine. That's way down the list. I'm gonna be honest. That's on a list. That's on like the 2017 list. I at some point, yes. Unless you tell me sometime soon that my dirty blinds are really messing something up, which they probably are, given where they're located in the house, for crying out loud. But okay.
Well, that's the very thing that we would start with, would be finding out what's going on in your life. People read my book and then they just try to do everything in the book, and they may or may not have that problem. Like some people say, oh, I heard, painting your front door red is good Feng Shui.
Oh yeah.
It depends. It depends on what you need. So it's always about starting with you to get a custom Feng Shui solution and finding out, why would it be my decision of I decide that you need more prosperity, or I decide that you need a better relationship and you're going to do this X, Y, and Z. My opinion should not matter. It's literally about finding what is going on in your world, what you are willing to change. Because some people are like, I just can't go there right now. I just can't deal with I had a lady who, her daughter committed suicide. She locked the bedroom door and she didn't even go in there. And she's like, we're not going in, can't do it. And for me to stand there and go, I got to get in there and I got to Feng Shui it, you're not ready. So what are you willing to take on? Where do you want it? Really, honest to God, make a change, because it will change your life and you got to be ready for it. And she wasn't ready. So you got to honor people's time, their willingness, and their commitment to their own future. And so that's where I start. And whether you need it's literally up to you. So my answers today, when I talk about the common mistakes that people normally have, this is coming from a general positioning, and it's literally, taking on the custom solution would be to hire a Feng Shui consultant or something like that to really hone it in to get your specific results. But there's a lot of things we can do, just common little tips that can make a huge difference in somebody's life, and hopefully we'll get to some of them right now.
Yay! Now, first tell me, so I'm going to go link back before the way I came to Feng Shui is kind of funny. I was moving, and my intuition's very strong, and out of the blue I had a thought in my head, you should use Feng Shui. I clearly knew that was not my thought. There was nothing in me that was worrying about trying to transfer the gas and get the electric on and where in the hell is the cable guy. There was no room for, you really should use Feng Shui. So I thought, okay, clearly, all right, this is a universe thought here. It's a universe moment. And that's when I went looking and I got a hold of your book. Before that, I just thought Feng Shui was just some kind of you put up some elephants or some Buddhas and some mirrors, and it was good luck charms. So can you start from that place? Because that was really where I came from, and I'm not sure if other people had that experience, but they just know so little about it that they think it's about putting things up as kind of good luck charms.
Well, yes, the concept of having good luck, I mean, it is somewhat about that, and it's presenting your environment so that it portends out or plays out to have better luck for you.
Okay.
So that's, I can sort of buy into that. Okay. And the setting of your intentions through manipulating your three-dimensional spaces is kind of what it's all about. So if you choose to use symbols, which are these little charms that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
symbols are one of the 9 traditional cures. And so possibly somebody could completely rearrange their space with a lot of intention and just using symbols. So I'm actually going to say not as bad as it sounds, that you could set yourself up that way, because I have had some people that literally live in a half of a dorm room, and I'm supposed to be feng shuiing it, and they don't have a lot of space or room or things to put anywhere, and we might simply use pictures cut out of a magazine as their symbol of what they want, because they don't have any space to do anything with. So it's the realm is endless of the opportunities and ways to set up your space, and it could be very minute little details, and it could be redoing with construction and bulldozers and things like that, a whole renovation of a house. So it runs the gamut there.
So tell me where to start. If I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, I came to the summit to get tools, I'm being exposed to different tools, and Tanya apparently doesn't think feng shui is crazy, so I'm willing to give this a stab. And I do not think it's crazy. Actually, I really, really like it. I pay attention to it. I'm going to ask you about the peach blossom love cure. I think that's what it's called. I wish I could see your face right now. I need to see if you're laughing. You're laughing.
I am.
Damn it.
You know what I would suggest is starting in your bedroom, because that is, of course, where you rejuvenate your body for health, and you get up on the right side of the bed, et cetera, all those little sayings. I pay attention to people's language so much.
Yeah.
So when people say they have an issue, I will break down the words that they choose, because so often it is telltale as to what I need to go look for in their house. And so this would be my feng shui tip without knowing anything about feng shui.
Okay.
So listen to your complaints. So if you're saying something like, I'm so stuck in life, I can't get moving,
Mm-hmm.
I would go to your house, into your house, and look for every drawer, window, door,
Oh, yeah.
anything that is stuck or sticking or not moving properly, and get it renovated in such a way, or upgraded or whatever, that it, or repaired, that it could be moving for you. I have found the straight across translation of what they say to what I literally go, okay, I listen to their words, I'm listening. I've got my little things I'm going to go look for, and then I can literally point to it. I go, there it is. There's the thing that is causing that reaction, because there's a rule that says what's going on in your house is going on in your life.
That's congruence. That's so within and so without. And this is you made a good spot for me to point this out, because I pointed this out in an interview with a detox expert. I called her a shortcut, and I'm calling feng shui an awesome shortcut too, because we're connected interior to exterior. Your interior work can be scary and hard, but you know what? It's easy to fix a damn drawer. So fix the drawer, for the love of God. It helps you. It's a cheat. It's a shortcut.
It's a hack. Exactly.
It's a hack. Thank you. Yeah, so I've had this thought. That's why I'm like, ooh, this is a fine idea. Why do all that internal work? I'm going to start here and get a little momentum going. So
that's right. Chicken or the egg. Work with either one. You get the other one having results. Good. So when people say, oh, I'm not as sharp as I used to be, I will ask to feel their scissors, their knives, their things like that.
Oh my God, I never even, okay, I don't say it. I'm trying to think right now in my back of my head. I'm like, what the hell do I say? What do I say? What are the things I'm saying?
So is the essence of sharpness, is the energy of sharpness in your environment? And if not, you could be feeling dull. So if somebody says, I'm so drained all the time, I could be looking into their plumbing issues. You see how drained.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the words that they choose,
Okay.
where it is manifested in three-dimensional, outcomes in their environment,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing if there's some tweak or change or, something we can do there to correct it in such a way that it would propel them to react differently to space. So a sharp tomato cutting knife is different than a dull tomato cutting knife. It makes just that one little snag, that little, this knife is so, if it takes that out of your world times 1,000 little things that you do in your house, life just becomes more smooth.
There is I've taught this in a coaching program, and it was an acronym for comfort, and the F was called friction. And literally I didn't realize it, but this is what I was teaching. I taught people to look for their friction points, and that all of these little tiny friction points mess you up. Like having a stapler that's out of staples messes you up. Because you keep reaching for the stapler and there's no staples. And you're like, dang it, there's no staples. I got to get staples. And 2 days later, you reach for the stapler and there's no staplers. You know, your seatbelt thing always like gets stuck. And then you have to have this tug of war with your seatbelt and you're fighting with it. All those little points of friction, they cost you your personal energy. So I didn't realize it, but I was secretly in your Feng Shui world.
You were totally in the Feng Shui world. You're exactly on it. So when people want relationships, when people want prosperity, when people want, good luck or better luck in all these different worlds, those are the exact things we will look at. So I'm just venturing to say that there are many women on this call. I'm guessing it's a lot of women. I'm guessing many of them are single. And so one of the classic moves that single women make are to create a bedroom that really screams, a single woman lives here. And so if you can just, this is like I'm just throwing it out there, don't know you personally, but if you can create a bedroom scene that looks like a loving couple lives there, you would actually be creating or portending or giving the opportunity for that to show up in your world. And having one night stand gets you one night stands. A still life in the bedroom can get you a still life in the bedroom. So it's like we're looking for these.
So you changed my world. I promise you, I'm moving into this house. I have one freaking nightstand. And I read the book, and I'm like, shit, now I need different nightstands. Like, I don't have enough expenses in the world. And I promise you, I looked online, and there was a garage sale, and it said there was like a pair of nightstands. And I'm like, whatever, I'm done. I'm getting them. I rolled right over, and I promise you, there's still the nightstands I have. I always meant to replace them or upgrade them. But honestly, I'm like, I now have a pair of nightstands, and I had to really make it work. But you're right. I had a painting in my room, which was very gloomy. It was all in browns and whites, and it was like a rain-soaked scene with a single figure in the distance. Lonely. I was like, oh my God, I'm broken inside. I actually gave this painting away, and I am a big art collector. I have 96 pieces of art on my walls everywhere, and that's unheard of. I gave it away because I was like, I don't want this in my home anymore. This is not my energy. Not keeping it. And that was you. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And some people have a big honking story that they can't, the guilt involved in getting rid of things that had significance at one point in their time or belonged to somebody else. I mean, if you're keeping stuff, I hate to go into the clutter conversation because this could be a 5-hour talk in and of itself.
Let's do the clutter. I'll call myself out if you do clutter. Go ahead.
But, when people are holding on to these stories of, quote, sentimentality or even pet ashes or people ashes or, things that they think they must hold on to. They don't love it. They don't need it. They don't use it. Yet they are compelled to keep it because of, quote, some story. Right. What is that story? That story, when you throw a should in there, it's got guilt involved. I should do it. Well, that means I'm doing it, but it doesn't align with who I am or my values.
It's not your
it aligns with somebody else's.
Right.
You should keep that because it's the only thing you have from Aunt Edna, kind of a thing.
Right.
And so if there's guilt in your house, there's guilt in your life. And do you want to live your life burdened by cumbersome guilt? And, having that conversation, and believe me, I've sat on the floors of women whose husbands have died and she's holding the wallet in her hand and rocking on the floor going, it's the last thing I have and I'm like, I get right in there with these people and walk them through, and one quick tip about it is holding it up to your future. Where do you want to go? Where is that Y point that you're going from X to Y on? And if I'm all about world travel, visiting my grandkids and whatever, then when you hold up the the funky broken vase from Aunt Edna. You go, how does this fit in my world of I want to travel more and see my grandkids or whatever the goals are? And so when you've got your thing to hold up life to, I had one lady who had a basement top to bottom, front to back, filled with her parents' stuff that someday she was going to write a book about it because she thought her parents, they were so interesting and that everybody back in Michigan loved the whole family thing. And I said, now wait a minute. Before I stumbled downstairs, we had our conversation about what she wanted to do. And she said, I bought this house because I want to ski more. I want to hike more. I want to travel more. And so when I ran into this big pile of stuff in the basement, I said, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to do the whole apple farm story or whatever it was. And I said, now wait a minute. What are you going to cut out travel? Are you cutting out skiing? What are you cutting out to do that? Because I didn't hear anything about that goal in your initial story. And so to me, none of this aligns with who you are, but I have to have and I said, so you're literally giving up your ski time, your travel time, your whatever time for some future people way off in the distance once you're long gone so they can have a book to read. I want to think about how you're spending your LIFE life and what you're doing. And so, it's a big pill to swallow, but let me tell you, that big pile of stuff, she wasn't skiing, she wasn't traveling, and she wasn't even writing the book.
Right.
That thing was holding her down like a anchor. And so she wasn't getting anything done. And that's how, and she was, maybe losing the house too, she was so stuck. And
you just said like so many things. I want to make sure everybody heard these things. The concept of these things binding you to the guilt. I want to make sure that people heard that. And if that resonated with you, you need to ask yourself because, when she said that, most people listening, you probably immediately thought of a thing or some stuff, that's the stuff. Whatever popped in your head, that's pretty much the stuff that's in the way. And then she's talking about, using your life currency and looking at your goals and saying, well, is this thing that I'm holding on to, is it helping or hurting? This is actually what I used to tell people how to figure out how to get divorced. It's a really simple thing. Is the person adding to your life or subtracting to your life? There is no neutral. Neutral is the lying place that your ego goes. That's the lie. It's either hurting or helping. And so the stuff she's talking about, it's either hurting you or helping you. You're either stuck and that's supporting the stuckness, or it's helping you get unstuck. Does that sound right, Karen?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So the stuff in your life is either helping you grow, bloom, and thrive, wilt, deplete, or die, or there is a very tiny speck of a pause point of neutrality in between those two. So the circle of life is growing, blooming, thriving, wilted, depleting, tiny, with these tiny little moments of pause in between the circle, up and down. Yeah, so we're looking for growing, blooming, and thriving. So is that, 20, urns of pet and people ashes supporting that? I pick on that because, honest to God, I have been able to talk plenty of clients out of their people ashes, but I don't know if it's a rare find that I can get rid of Fido in somebody's house. So
yes, that's not happening.
Out of the house, Feng Shui lady, Fido stays.
Yeah, maybe you can get the dog to the garage, but I'm thinking that's about as far as that's going to go, really.
If they've taken that time, yeah. So, but it's literally holding them up against what they've told me their goals were, and that's I am a stand for their future that way. And I'm like, you told me you are all about this. You're all in on this. How does that support that? And they have to come to grips with it's either taking it away or it's adding to, just like you said.
You're a coach. You're a coach. Your tools are these environmental and mind, body, and spirit things, but you're a coach. You're coaching people into coming into alignment with what they're actually saying they want. That's the disruption. The distance between where you are in truth and where you want to be and the place you're pretending to be, those are the three coordinates that causes all of the problems in everybody's life.
Exactly. And then there's the be careful what you wish for, so there are people that, they're with that neutral point. I don't know if I shouldn't break up, stay, whatever. And then they say, I said, so are you committed to having the ultimate relationship? Yes. Okay, we're going to do these things to your environment. And are you willing to let the chips fall where they may? Because it may drop this relationship like a hot potato because it's now propelling you towards the good relationship. And I said, are you willing to really, to have that be released if that so happens? Or it could be that person straightens and becomes the optimal person. It could go either way. And so I warn people because people get fired or laid off or break up, whatever.
That was in your book, and I have to tell you, that is you're a good coach. You're very insightful, and that's awesome that you're warning people. It's very similar. On another interview, I was telling people I recently literally prayed a prayer where I surrendered my life to God and said, go ahead and remake me. And that is it can be a very dangerous and scary prayer because you don't know how the universe is going to come in and remake you. You don't know what you're holding on to that needs to be out of the way for you to get where you're supposed to get. And so what you said was commitment, which is a vital word. You have to be committed to the better and trust that the outcome is going to be better because the ride can be really shaky getting from where you are to this next point.
Right. So Eye on the Prize really helps the cluttered people, stay focused and go through because it's going to feel physically, you will feel it in some way or another. You might get nauseous. You might get dizzy. You might cry. You might do whatever because it's in your house. So it's in your life. And if you're pulling it off like a Band-Aid, you're going to feel the sting. And so some people take that as a sign. Oh, I shouldn't be cluttering. It feels weird. And I'm like, you're just going through it. You're getting to the other side. So
it's like a growing pain. Oh my God, you are so smart. You have said such brilliant things already. I mean, listen to that. That is, everybody who's listening to that, what she's telling you is true, and things that are true everywhere. She's showing you that there is a cost to growth because you have to shed an old skin. You have to come from a place of comfort and go through a place of uncomfort and discomfort to get to the new place. So anything you're doing that's growing is going to do that. But when we get to our stuff, we think of that as, well, this is a sign that this thing has to stay because I must be emotionally attached to it. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel so bad. Oh.
You got it. So yeah, sometimes you can't help the butterfly out of the chrysalis because then it can't fly because it hasn't, pushed against that to get free, So sometimes there's a little bit of work and effort that is involved to getting to the other side where it's glorious on the other side.
Okay, Karen, we now accept that you are a super badass Feng Shui goddess. And I've got two topics that everybody is sitting here going, why doesn't Tanya ask her about love and money? Okay, people, okay, I'm there with you. I'm asking. Love, money, let's go with love. I've just,
You're so funny. Believe it or not, one of the original working titles of Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life, because I'm like, let me think. What do people always want? They want the love, they want the money, right?
Yeah.
So one of the original titles of this book, believe it or not, was called Good Pay, Good Lay, Feng Shui, because it was just like, I constantly hear those two things.
I totally would have, hand up, calling out, would have bought that. Might have tried to flip it over at the counter, just go with the little ISBN thing, just scan it real quick. It's like tampons, just put it right in the bag, with that. Yeah, good bag, good luck.
At the time, in 1997, when I wrote the book, you're so funny. The word FENGSHUI, nobody even knew how to pronounce it back then. So we went against it because by the time somebody tried to say those words, it didn't even rhyme anymore, So thus the Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life. But anyway, so to get more love, yes. We talked about a little bit. I would say the ground zero is the bedroom,
okay.
and creating if you build it, kind of a scenario, right? I'm not going to finish that sentence. So if you build it, you're going to...
Oh, my. Oh, look at the blush creeping on my cheeks.
So you're going to make your bedroom very comfortable and enough space. And this is where a little tip that most women, when they go, I got to have 2 nightstands. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll go get another matching nightstand because Karen said to make a matching nightstand. You have to literally in your mind carve that out of it's my nightstand. It is not your nightstand. you would not put your glass on either nightstand. You honor that nightstand as not yours. You honor some drawer space in your bathroom as not yours. You honor some, so there's room for opportunity. If the cup is full, it can't fit any more in there. So some people go get the next nightstand, and I go, which one's yours? And they're like, well, they're both mine. I'm like, that's the problem. So we have to physically honor it as if it's not yours. I actually had one client. She lived in New York City, and she was a Calvin Klein's men's underwear designer.
Okay.
And so I said, you can put something in there that he might have, but it's not for you to put your stuff in there.
Right.
And so she said, I know exactly the size and the style of underwear that I would want my future man to have.
Oh, that's smart.
So she put it in there, and so that she designed. How cool is that? And then she literally emailed me later, and she said, perfect fit. So she got the opportunity to show up. So making room. And when you have hogged the entire master closet, even if you're married and you have taken over the entire master closet and the husband has now got some of his stuff in the guest room and some in the garage and some in the basement or whatever, that's really pulling you two apart. And it's really saying something, about the relationship and who's over who and whatever, So a lot of women who have taken over the entire master closet don't like it when I come to their house and I invite the husband back into the room to equally share what's going on in that bedroom. I actually had one woman who took over the his and the her master closets, and he wasn't anywhere in the bedroom, even though there were two closets. I mean, wow, ballsy, right? So
it's funny that you say that, because I notice it. I'm not a TV fan, but the one channel I will watch is HGTV, which has all the home renovation shows. Yeah. And I cannot tell you how many times I've seen it where people are walking through a house, they get to the master bedroom, they see the closet, and whatever closet space is there, the woman claims it. She says, this is mine, you can have the thing down the hall. So, which you're not joking. What you're talking about is
exactly.
Totally
I watch HGTV, I see it every time as well. It's so common, and that's why I thought I'd bring that one up, because who are you allowing in the bedroom? And if you're, if it's not equal. So in the bedroom, if you are married or in a relationship, they're living with you, whatever, I need 2 thumbs up on every single item in that bedroom. I don't like it when the man says, oh, if she's happy, I'm happy. I want him involved, and I want him to say, this rocks me. I love this bedroom. And I don't want her to bulldoze her way, and, vice versa. It's got to be that this is all about the retreat within the retreat of the home for just you two. And you two have to friggin' both love it.
So that brings up the pillows, because if you look at most master bedrooms, women just take the whole damn thing. I mean, honestly, it's their favorite bedspread, it's their carpet, it's their rug, it's their stuff on the dressers, and then the bed is covered with pillows. And if you ask any man, they'll tell you, I hate all 19 pillows on the bed.
Exactly. Yeah. 2 thumbs up. When you both are just loving every single thing about that room, what happens? It's got, it brings about that, I say, hey, do you love like the Adirondack Mountains? Do you love the beach side? What makes romance happen for you two? Let's discuss the commonalities, because some people say, I like this and I like that. I go, well, let's find a place where you two agree, from an aesthetic point of view, what things drive you both. And we work it from a design aspect from there. So, it can't be the lone wolf going through the snow, the art that's gone, And so I'm really looking for, and I don't really want weapons in the bedroom. I usually say nobody else's eyes but those who sleep there. I don't want pictures of the kids. I don't want pictures of the moms, deities, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, Buddha, Gandhi, whatever. I really look for this room to be solely about the 2 people that are sleeping there.
Like a little safe womb. Okay.
Very safe, very supportive, and that's ground 0 for relationship building. And believe it or not, ground 1, right after the bedroom and getting that all in place, would be the dining room, because the companion is, the root word of companion comes from panis, which is bread, which is breaking bread with.
I didn't even have a table. There, see, I'm calling myself out again.
Aha.
I didn't have, and people would be like, why don't you have a table? And I'm like, honestly, I'm by myself. I don't really need a table. I'll sit on my couch or I'll eat somewhere else. I wanted all the space. I loved all the space, so I just didn't have a table for the longest time.
Aha.
Yeah.
So yes.
I got
And
one eventually, but I did not have one and endured quite a number of offers from people. Like, people tried to give me tables. I'm like, I don't want a table.
so there's a timing thing involved, you know, so it just might have been not ready for you at that moment.
Okay.
Not ready for that breaking bread with somebody. So, yeah, so it's having that conversation about how the dining room. Now, how many people out there have that fake, I call it the fake dining room.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going. It's the dining room that nobody is ever going into ever. Sometimes you accidentally go into it on Christmas, but even then, that's a little sketcy. It's the twice-a-year dining room. It's like
That's
church
twice
for
a year dining.
Catholics
Exactly.
or something. Yeah.
And so there you go, completely unused, unhonored space. It feels very dead,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm looking to pump some life into people's houses. So you don't want any dead spots, dead corners, dead rooms, dead things like that. So bringing in a common thing that I would do to a dining room if they want to even keep it, because sometimes I go in people's houses and give them permission to actually use square footage that might have been originally designed as some other space, but use it for something that they want in their dream. Like there's like, I don't have any room to paint in my house. I love painting, but ever since I moved in here, I go, well, you've got that dining room that you use for 2 dinners a year. Why don't we claim that as your painting space? And that's something that you'll do more of, you know, and so it's literally about I give them permission to move rooms into other things and functions
Wow.
to make it a custom house for them, not some fake living room, fake dining room. You know, I dust it once a week and that's all anybody goes in there kind of a
Right.
space.
Right.
But if you do have that fake dining room and you have enough space to do all the other things, maybe you can invigorate it by bringing what's called one of the other 9 traditional cures. We talked about symbols earlier, but another one is called living objects.
A plant.
A bowl of fresh fruit on the table can make a huge difference. Like somebody's been here because that fruit's not rotten. You know,
I was
like
gonna say, yeah.
feels like
It's not bad.
energy's in there. A plant, flowers, sure, anything growing, blooming, thriving, just what we were talking about. That can make a huge difference in one of those. You know, when I see the silk plant on the fake room in the still thing and the still life, and it's like, oh, it's just not pulsing with life. You know.
Now, what do we do if somebody's having money troubles? Like, they're sitting right here going, this is very interesting, not so worried about the man, I actually have a table, unlike Tanya previously. What if they're worried about money right now?
If they're worried about money right now, I'd like them to get kind of clear on how much money they're looking for, just to throw the universe out there, because the dime they found on the curb might be what the universe gave them as more prosperity, and you didn't acknowledge it as that. So get some sort of a, you know, clarity around that. And then I would say probably the number one thing that I would do would be to make room for opportunities. And I would start from the street to your front door.
Okay.
And if it's hard to find your front door, if trick-or-treaters aren't coming for free candy, opportunities aren't knocking either. So I find that, you know, bringing opportunities to the front door can add to much prosperity. And then once you're inside, of course, you have to have the space to hold it. If the cup is full, you can't hold any more. So I would definitely declutter. Here's the rule, the thing that you can grab onto for that. Space is not nothing. Space equals infinite possibilities. So a lot of people think of it as lack or nothing or less, or if I throw that out, it's blank, or it's infinite. It can be anything. And if you've got everything else aligned, that which you intend will walk in the door and fill that space now. And so you'll be better aligned with, you know, the opportunities that will show up will fit you better. And so it's getting from the street to the front door. I don't want anything blocking, clutter, you know, bushes hiding, trees in front of, you know, we need that door to be like, welcome everybody, come on in. Wash it down. Treat that front door like your little, you know, that's your welcome wagon there. So wash your front door. Don't have it be dusty. Shine that knob. And if it squeaks and, you know, the hinges, oil the hinges. Make it the happiest little front door. Make the, you know, up the wattage in the porch light. Make sure the doorbell works. Sweep off. Put a happy, fresh welcome mat outside. Fresh flowers, that living, blooming, thriving, growing, you know, put maybe some red flowers to attract some eyes your way, because red is a very energy attracting color. So that's why somebody might paint their front door red, but not necessarily need it. So that would be sort of my big tip for like just getting new opportunities so you can choose to which ones will be more prosperous to you, making space inside. And then if you want to look at the back left hand part of your house, which there's a little map that's involved in Feng Shui, which you learn about and move your stuff, yeah. The back left area when you're walking in. So if you hold up the book and you see.
All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get that.
Well, actually, you could. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, got it. So actually, if you just hold the cover of the book up, I'll talk about it. So the cover is the Bagua. So the bottom of the book is where you'll be walking in your house. So you'll be even walking in the skills and knowledge where the blue is, or the career where the computer is, or the helpful people where the bellman is.
Right.
And then if you walk all the way back to the back left where you see the money sign back there you go. That's the area of your house that would be in charge of gathering that prosperity energy for you.
What if it's your bathroom or something?
If it's your I do talk about that in the, I know it's so funny that after writing Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life, the toilet has become the nemesis of the book, right? The bad guy. And everybody's like, they call me and they go, I've got a toilet. And I'm like, well, congratulations, because a lot of people don't. But there's things we can do. And so if there's a toilet back there, it could be that your money is draining away. If there's a fireplace there, it could be that you're burning through your money as fast as you make it. If there's a back door there, it could be money comes in and money goes out. So these are the types of things that we look for, and to see if there's a tweak or a change or something or a counter cure that we could do to offset having that there. If you have a fireplace there, you would put a mirror above, one of those framed mirrors, hang a mirror above the fireplace. That's a long story, but it will put out the fire so it won't burn your money. If you have a back door, you could take some red tape or something red fingernail polish or whatever, and draw a red line across the top of the molding of the back door. And if you have a bathroom there, you could put red around the outgoing pipes. So you go underneath the sink and put where that little P-trap, little S-shaped thing is, put a line of red, maybe tie a red ribbon around that pipe with the intention of stopping the energy from draining out the drains. So these are the tiny little cures that we might use. I might give somebody a list of things to do like that if I'm doing their house. And
this works because our intention is for it to work.
I would say the intention is 60 to 70% of the cure. Okay. The actual three-dimensional stuff is a very much more slower vibrating energy pattern. You know how intentions and prayers are just immediate. When you pray, that invisible energy has such much more of a faster quality to it. Gotcha. So that's why I say it's 60 to 70% is the intention behind it. So I say with the right intention, you can hardly go wrong. Because some people say, what if I feng shui and I kill myself? I don't know enough about it. With the right intention, you can hardly go wrong. And one last thing I wanted to talk about was the power position or the command position. And I do have, if they go to moveitwithkaren.com.
Moveitwithkaren.com. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and it's Karen. So moveitwithkaren.com. And they will have access to this webinar. And it visibly shows you'll just get it by looking at all of these different types of chairs. The king, the pope, the priest, the judge, the president, the secretary.
I remember what you're talking about here. This is important. I actually have I have a couple offices in my house. In my big fancy office, the office I really do my work and coaching in, I actually moved this giant overstuffed green recliner behind my desk. And it doesn't look like you should have a big, soft, giant emperor-like recliner behind a desk, and I don't care. I did it for that reason. Because that chair, it's above my head, and it frames me, and it gives me a block because there's like a window behind me. And I feel very secure in that chair.
Correct. So the chair back is kind of like having the mountain behind your house. It feels very protective. And the headboard wall should be a solid wall behind your bed. Preferably no window behind the head of your bed, preferably no window behind the chair back of your office. You know, the kids, if kids have a window at their headboard, they're usually the ones getting bullied at school. They
Wow.
are positioned themselves in a vulnerable
Vulnerable
position.
place.
So if they go to move it with Karen, they'll be able to easily see, like, they'll just get it. You'll
They'll
just
just get,
watch
this
it.
is simpler. Okay, so we're going to get to be able to see it. This is an awesome, awesome gift. So people can look and they can actually see it and go, okay, this is how this works. Because like I said, my bed, it's impossible to get the headboard against the wall that doesn't have a window. So I have this little line of red yarn in my windowsill that nobody looks at. Nobody knows why it's there, but I know why it's there. Um, yeah.
Precisely. So you've actually cured and counterbalanced, and, life is more supportive as a fallout from that, so that's exactly what we're looking for. We do it, and then we observe the results, and then if we need to fine tune it or tweak it after that, that's, sometimes it's about experimenting,
What
taking.
about, can you give us a brief thought on what to do if, people are living with other people and they are so not on board with us running around with mirrors and red tape and bells and stuff? What's the deal there? I mean, if you've got a mate and your mate's like, no, you can't put red tape all over the toilet.
Yes, and there's usually one that's more cluttered than the other one.
Yeah,
There's the Oscar and Felix odd
right,
couple kind of thing. And so somebody's like, my husband doesn't clean up anything, and what do I do? He just messes up right behind me.
right.
So I would recommend that. Hold the book up again.
Okay.
We'll talk about in the back center of the house. See where that lady's standing on that little pedestal when there's stars and it's red up
Oh,
on the
I got
top?
you. Yeah.
So when you're walking into your house, all the way back in the center back 1/9 of the space, like you're dividing your house into a tic-tac-toe. And if your house is shaped very funkily, there's tips in that book as well on how to deal with that. But just do each room, the center back of each room, if all else fails. So the center back of the room or the center back of the house
Right.
is run primarily by fire element energy. So you could place a candle there, something red there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing that with intention of getting respect for your opinion about how neat and clean this house should be. Like commonality between the husband and wife that are Oscar and Felix. How do
Gotcha.
you respect each other through the fact that you have different values on how clean or neat or whatever the house should or shouldn't be? And so I would say let's start gathering respect energy for you before you jump in and try to have this conversation about you need to be like me and be neater or messier or whatever it is. Let's just get
See,
respect.
you're a brilliant coach. I mean, that's pure spiritual coaching. The first thing I would tell somebody is before you go to undertake something, especially if you think it's difficult, you need to align the correct energy. You don't want to go into it with this energy of, oh, this is going to be hard and it's not going to work and I don't think it's going to. You need to align the energy. So what you're telling them is to go into that fame area and basically do something intentional to bolster that energy so then you can go into that conversation if you need to have a conversation about it in a different place. And a different place will get you a different outcome.
Yes, yes. It will. Things start to shift, and sometimes a word doesn't even have to be spoken.
Right, that's
It's
the best
kind
part.
of fun. Yeah.
That's the best part. Oh my gosh. And this is, like I said, I've been interviewing my heroes and you taught me Feng Shui. I don't know how many people I've said that thing to. I don't have one night stand because I don't want to have one night stands, I mean, people actually erroneously think that's mine. So I guess I need to go ahead and attribute it correctly to the author of the phrase. But no, these things make a difference. I can tell the difference in my life when my life is more cluttered. Spiritually, as I evolve, anytime I have a huge epiphany, like working with all these experts, I have had such massive change and epiphany and understanding. And I can feel my environment does not fit me anymore right now. Like I have to go through and I'm going to have to purge and shift and do other things because I'm lighter than my environment right now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, great. More work. Yay. But, but I'm excited to do it because I know what it means. I know it means that I've shifted and I've grown. So really, if you're listening to this, please do consider that if you're on a path of spiritual growth and understanding, you're hampering that if you're letting your environment remain dense and cluttered and energy filled. And I come from a family of clutterers. We're not hoarders, but we're like, I don't know, hoarders in training or something. I have no clue. And so it's a big deal for me. I really have to watch myself. And when my energy gets icky, I can see it in my environment. I put up less. Things get disordered, and that chaos inside of me starts showing up outside of me. That's why, depressed people tend to be in depressed places. So just a tip, listen to what Karen has told you. She's told you some brilliant things today.
Thank you. Thank you. It is, it's an honor to serve, all your clientele here. And I hope that, even one little tip, maybe it's, getting the kids' headboard up against a solid wall to help it. Just one little thing can make such a huge difference. And if all the people on the call are now becoming mindful of their environment, imagine it's almost like a little quilt being built. All the 2,000 square foot houses, 1,800 square foot, 1,200, the fabric of the globe is now being mindfully arranged bit by bit. And can you imagine when we get that tipping point of everybody is now on board with honoring their little amount of square footage that they're in charge of on this planet? And what a better place to make, way to make the world a better place.
We're going to have to work together because we obviously think alike, because my version of the Tanya version of that is if everybody cleaned their front step, the world would be clean. If everybody just took care of their little bit, the world would be clean. There wouldn't be anything to clean up. If everybody just said grace over what they've got and made sure that was in order, everything would work so much better.
Who knew? We were twins.
See, this is cool because they can't see you. When you see a picture of Karen, she's going to look something like that. But that's just because she hadn't tanned. When she tanned, she looks just like me, really. That's pretty much, hair a little longer, but we look the same. So I am so excited. I just have so much fun. I have so much fun sharing you with everybody. I recommend Feng Shui as a tool. It's one of those tools that is not an exorbitant cost. So dive in, try it. The only thing you have to lose are the things you don't want anymore.
Perfectly said.
Yay! Thank you so much for being with us, and go to moveitwithkaren.com, and I'll make sure you guys have the link to make sure you can get right there and get that webinar so you can really see what it is you need to do to make a change in your life. And these are changes that are going to show up inside of a month. I'm sorry, but they are. Mine did. So good luck, everybody. Bye, Karen.
Bye.